Hey there, comic book fans. I'm going to be doing my Marvel value stamp this morning for Terrence comicKkrak's project. And let's see. First I did it a little small drawing, and I blew it up and did it a little bigger. And now I'm going to ink it about this size. And it's based on, I'm doing it in a Carla Speed McNeil Finder sort of world style. Got a little neck tattoo like her. It's kind of based on these guys right here because they got the long hair like me and tattoos. So it's gonna be Jared as Finder, or whatever the name of this world is. The one character is named Finder. But first we'll start out inking here. A little bit of his hair on this side. Got to get a big swooping bit of hair there. There we go. It's not quite as dark as I need it to be though. Sometimes when you just start out inking, the ink's not quite as black as it needs to be because dip my brush in water first. But that's a nice outline. I'm going to keep this fairly simple. Some long knife edges of hair. I tend not to do a lot of the sort of standard hair techniques in comics, just because, I don't know, I never took to them. I like to draw hair as weird shapes and strange styles. They're rather than the illustrative hair techniques that you see all the time. Well, not even all the time. If you look at one of my favorite guys for hair techniques ever was John Romita Sr. If you look at his old Spidey stuff, especially Gwen Stacy and Mary Jane and Peter Parker, all had different hair techniques on their hair. You know, Peter Parker had the short brown hair technique, and John Romita did those really well. I was never quite able to grasp and master those, though. I kind of went my own direction with this weird knife edge hair and such things. Often in my drawings, the hair is kind of an excuse to make odd shapes. Because I like drawing faces and I like drawing hair, but I like making them into something kind of different. Here's a little part in the hair. But doing one-off drawings is completely different than cartooning, where you have to draw the same character over and over. In that case, you better have a hair technique down, because you're going to have to draw that character's hair 1,000 times. You better know exactly how it looks. In all sorts of situations. This is a little different. That this hair only has to be drawn once. I'm only doing, one drawing of this character, which is me, after I saved the orphans. Back in art school, that's what how we always referred to self-portraits, because people tend to draw themselves a little more heroically when they're drawing a self-portrait. You just can't help it sometimes. So whenever we art students would have to draw self-portraits, then we'd look at each other's self-portraits and go, man, you made yourself look like Superman in that one. So we came to refer to them as the pictures after you saved the orphans. So you're all heroic after having saved a building full of orphans from a fire, and you're at your most heroic. Just get this other side of this hair. And I made the eyes. I have deep set eyes, so I made them in shade here. I didn't use as much line as I usually use with eyes. With eyes I usually use 2 circles, almost full circles all the time, for the iris and pupils, but here I'm just doing a little shadow. It just seems appropriate. I like that kind of squinty-eyed look for this. And like I said, I have deep set eyes, so they're not big and Disney-like. So we'll just put them in a little bit of shadow there. Hide them away. Make it look like I'm looking at something far away and pensive. Get the swoop of the nose here. There we go. Tie that in. The edge of the face. Big round jaw. That's another thing. Since I have a big round jaw, when I'm drawing a character or something right out of my head, if I'm not careful and I leave it to my subconscious, artists have a tendency to draw themselves in drawings, meaning that I left to my subconscious, I give most characters a big round jaw. Just because I have one, it's the face I'm used to in the mirror. So I have to specifically think about not doing that whenever I'm designing a character. I give them all sorts of different size jaws. Square lantern jaws, pointy chins, all sorts of stuff. Little hint of hair under there, a little sideburn. The front of the neck. Gave myself a little poncho like thing here too. I just kind of liked the swoops of it. I don't think there's really ponchos in Finder, but I ended up liking the shapes that these I often do little swooping shapes like this and sort of this 3/4 bust look. Here's where I have to be careful. Well, let's first start over here because we want to go with the natural curve of our arm, since these curve inward, and when I make a mark with my arm, it also naturally curves inward. We want to go with that shape. And then we have to make sure that this line matches up the way we want it to. Oops, see, we got a little bit, we got to make that a little pointier. Drop in some hair here. Two last hairlines. Snap that hair there for color hold. We forgot this side of the part. Let's bring this up here. Drop in a couple more lines there. Now we're going to come in do this tattoo thing with a pen, sort of give it a different look. Want a little scratchier. Make it look like a different line than the rest of it. There's some dots. Just kind of give it a scratchy look. I'll come down here with the neck one. Whoops. Pen needs a refill. Oh, we'll put some dots in there too for no reason. Now we had a little, I'm going to give him a little, actually let's switch over to a different thinner pen. We're going to go with a little 5 o'clock shadow here. Or at least a little beard, because I'm unshaven. Just some quick marks. I'm not getting them too ordered. There's an order to how beard hair lies down, but I'm not going too ordered in this because I'm moving fast for this video. That, and it looks like my battery's blinking orange, so I'm moving even faster. I'll add a little line up here. You know what? I think we'll make this poncho a little more interesting. With some gray. In it. Let's see here. That one goes down to there, which means it comes over here. Got to keep track of these patterns. You know what? We got to go up in here too. Let's go there. Yeah, a little more thickness on that line. We'll do it with this. And a little more overhang. Maybe put a line right there. Alright, I think I'm done with that for now. Now I gotta add a little color on the computer.